What could possibly go wrong? SNSPYNUKV. Bubsy in Claws Encounters of the Third Kind. Instruction booklet. Super Nintendo TM Entertainment System. Accolade. Warning. Please carefully read the consumer information and precautions booklet included with this product before using your Nintendo R hardware system, game pack, or accessory. Original Nintendo Seal of Quality, TM. This seal is your assurance that Nintendo has reviewed this product and that it has met our standards for excellence in workmanship, reliability, and entertainment value. Always look for this seal when buying games and accessories to ensure complete compatibility with your Nintendo product. Thank you for selecting the Bubsy in Claws Encounters of the Third Kind game pack for your Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Please read this instruction booklet thoroughly to ensure maximum enjoyment of your new game. Then save this book for future reference. TM and R are trademarks of Nintendo Co. Limited. Copyright 1993 Nintendo Co. Limited. Bubsy is a trademark of Accolade Inc. Accolade is a trademark of Accolade Inc. Copyright 1993 Accolade Inc. All rights reserved. Licensed from Accolade Inc. to Nintendo Co. Limited. Across the inky velvet reaches of space lie unknown terrors, strange worlds, and even stranger alien races. There are beings that stretch the very fabric of reality. And no woolly is more greedy for the furry fiber than the twin queens of Rayon, Polly and Esther. Well, Professor Nylon, have you found a new planet to plunder of wonderful wool? Yes, your embroidered highnesses. Have a bow peep through my fiber-optic yardoscope. Eureka! It's the mother of all wools! What a weird-looking creature! I'll say he's not wearing any pants! There's just no privacy for us big stars. The wildly wicked woolies could not resist this chance to steal wool. We'll pull the wool over that Bobcat's eyes and yank his yarn. They knit their planks carefully. They'll knit one here, then purl two there, rayon earth. And soon, the very fabric of space was being warped by their dreaded saucers of silk. What's our yarn consumption, Ensign? About 2 light years to the yard, sir. But the woolies had chosen to invade the space of one perfectly ferocious feline. I'm bad! Whoa! I'm bad! A Bobcat ready, willing and able to defend the rights of the downtrodden. Go ahead, make my day. Smite the evildoers. Some I smite, some I bite. It's a mood thing, really. And to generally act in a heroic and politically correct manner. I regret that I have but 9 lives to give to my planet. Well, it could happen. And so the nefarious, nasty, no-account woolies proceeded to clean Bubsy's clock. I'll vacuum. I'll dust. The woolies swiftly made a sucker out of Bubsy. Who said cat hair was hard to vacuum up? Of course it helps if it's still attached to the cat. Swoosh! And in mind-numbing succession he was first rejected. Yarn balls, riffraff. How humiliating. And then ejected. I'd like to remind the producer of this game that I am an endangered, repeat, endangered species. Eeeeeow! The woolly's unprovoked attack opened Bubsy's eyes. I see you have a lovely home here, Mrs. Gopher. and focused his razor-sharp mind on one critical thought. I bet this means I'll miss lunch. I knew I should have increased my insurance! And so begins the spellbinding, fast-paced, nail-biting, action-packed blockbuster event! I'll be back. Claws Encounters of the Third Kind. Instructional documentation for the insertion and implementation of Claws Encounters of the Third Kind game pack for the SNES. Step 1. Firmly grasp the ergonomically designed plastic game pack housing with both hands, making sure the description label is facing north. Step 2. Verify that the game pack/machine interface connectors are pointing towards the core of the planet. Step 3. Stand in front of the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in a relaxed manner with both feet slightly apart and terminate all power to the system by grasping the handle. Hey, wait a minute! I never saw this stuff before! Who's the chowderhead writing this thing anyway? I was supposed to get Stephen King for the manual. It's in my contract. Okay, that's it. Get Stephen on the line. Oh, I get it. Show it to the old Bubster and he'll throw a fit and do it himself. Save a few bucks. He's just a Bobcat. Is that it? Well, it's not going to work this time, Buster. I'm not going to stand up here and make some dorky speech about how the Willies have stolen all the Earth's yarn for their own evil ends, and how you're supposed to trash every Willie you see and grab every yarn ball in sight. No, sirree, not me. Find somebody else to talk about getting through the village past the carnival, hitching a ride on the canyon train, and going down river to the forest. And besides, the big Willie mothership at the end is a secret. You don't want to tell anyone about that anyway. That's how you win. Yep, you have to get up pretty early in the morning to fool this Bobcat. I'm not talking about any secret Willie warp caves full of yarn and stuff. Nope, not me. You guys try to get me to do everything around here. Sheesh. I mean, maybe you'd like me to take out the trash now? Table of contents. Let's get going, okay? It's a control thing, really. Playing around. Collector's items. The t-shirt craze. Free rides. Alien invaders and other bad guys. What to avoid. Credits. Produced by John A.S. Steele and Cynthia Kirkpatrick. Design. Michael Berlin. @L design. Cynthia Kirkpatrick, John A.S. Keel, and D. Scott Williamson. Art design. Beckett Gladney. Bubsy design and animation. Ken Macklin! Music composition. Matt Berardo. Programming by D. Scott Williamson and Joel Sider of Solid Software.
Yeah, so that's who to blame for this.
Super Nintendo Music and Sound, Mike Sihak and Matt Scott of Bite Size Sound.
Music and sound. Does that include the voice clips? Because if that's so, then they're responsible for that.
@L programming, Robert Calfee and Mike Schwartz. Animation and backgrounds, Adrian Bourne, Beckett Gladney, Ken Macklin, and Michael McLaughlin. @L animation and backgrounds, Frank Sirocco, Scott Eck and Lively, Kathy Rudis, Gail Redmond, Tanya Schiffer, and Jeff Sturgeon. Quality Assurance Coordination, James Kakera. Quality Assurance, Steve Graziano, Scott Barnes, Robert Nagashima. Music Driver, copyright 1992, Chip Level Designs. Comic book illustration, Ken Macklin. Comic book story, Richard Morin. Manual writing, Paula Farley. Creative Services, Shirley Sellers. Marketing, Linda Blanchard. Special thanks to the many others who worked on this project! Let's get going, okay? Now that I've taken out the trash, I just can't wait to get into this. Collecting yarn balls, adventuring, and best of all, wiping out Willies. Ah, life is good. Here's what I do. 1. First I make sure the power switch is off. 2. Then I stick my Bubsy game pack, the one with me flashing that great grin, into my Super Nintendo Entertainment System TM as described in the Nintendo System Manual. 3. I turn the power switch on. And I turn the TV on too, of course. That's it! There I am! Look at me as long as you like, which will probably be quite a while. And then press select to go to the options screen and make your selections. When I want to play with 2 players, if you and your friend want to wipe out woolies together, that's great! To get a second player into the game, press the start button on player 2's controller, or select 2 players on the options screen. Player 2 will have a green exclamation mark on my shirt. The options screen. This is where you can change a bunch of stuff, like the sounds, the music, what the buttons do, and more. I'll explain each option to you below, but first I want to tell you how to change an option. To change an option, highlight the option by pressing the control pad up or down. Then press select to toggle between choices. When you've made all your changes, press start to begin playing. Here's a brief bit about each option. #glide. This option lets you change what the buttons make me do. If you haven't messed with it, buttons B and A make me pounce, and buttons Y and X make me glide. Full audio. This lets you fiddle with the sound. Choose between full audio, mute, sound effects only, or music only. Enter passcode. This is great. With passcodes, you and I can start where we left off. Which means that if you get like all the way to the desert or something, you don't have to start at the village the next time you play. Each time you finish 3 chapters, you'll be given a passcode. Write it down! I mean it! To enter your 6-digit passcode, highlight Enter Passcode on the options screen and press Select. Then press up or down to scroll through the letters. When the correct letter is displayed, press right to go to the next space. If you make a mistake, press left to back up. After you have entered all 6 letters, press Select. After the chapter number appears, press Start. Bubsy Creators. This option gives credit where credit is due. Press up or down to see all the people who made me what I am today. One fantastic Bobcat! Enough said about other people, let's move on. Exit returns you to the title screen. It's a control thing, really. I'm a control freak. So, lots of powerful mammals are. If I wasn't, this whole place would have the woolies pulled over its eyes. Now, to help me beat these woolly bullies, you've got to understand a few simple things about control. And here they are! Look left, look right, L button, R button, look up / enter cave, move left, look down / duck, move right, start / pause, X, Y, A, B, select start, glide, pounce, brackets jump, control pad, up, I'll look up, I'll enter caves, mine shafts, etc. if I'm standing in front of them. Down, I'll duck down, I'll look below me. Right / left, I'll run or glide, right or left on the ground, in the air, and on water slides.
You won't move anywhere on the water slides, Bubsy, when you press left or right. Oh wait, what are you? I don't think you've got any control over Bubsy when he's on the blooming water slides. All you can do is jump. Or am I not? Have I forgotten something? I haven't touched Bubsy's game for years. Yeah, I own Bubsy, the original Bubsy. He's still. I mean, I'm reading the blooming my own enclosed instruction manual right now because you know what? This thing, for some criminal reason, for some crime against humanity reason, this thing is not on the internet as far as I could find. And aren't you glad that Mr. X kept his copy of the manual now, aren't you? Because otherwise you wouldn't be hearing this. You would not have Bubsy's screeching voice reading out his entire instruction manual to you. 15 years after his game was made. Yeah, you'll be missing out on that glory. Maybe if they revive Bubsy, maybe Mr. X will be his official actor. Yeah, I'm sure that'll happen. Well, I'll tell you what, though, you know what? When I was looking up the search engine for this, I found a website dedicated to Bubsy's 18th anniversary, which means that it must have been made about 2011 or so. Now, the website looks like that Space Jam website, if you've ever heard of it, that's been around since 1994 or something. It's still up. The Bubsy one, it just looks like it was made 20 years ago. I can't believe that wooden website exists. Bubsy 3D, it says, I think it's safe to say you can play the game on your browser, but you know what, I was so creeped out by the thing's existence. I was so disturbed that this website exists that anybody would care enough about Bubsy to make that thing. I was so uncomfortable, I quit out immediately, because I had a sneaking suspicion it was a screamer and it was going to, the Exorcist's face or whatever, the girl from The Exorcist, going to appear and a giant loud noise will play if I didn't get out of there, which it might possibly have done. Because I searched it on a different search engine, Google, and it didn't show up in the results, which made me suspicious. But yeah, there's a curiosity. I don't know how well known that is that that website exists. I think it said something about blooming Bubsy stickers or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I wouldn't advise for your own sanity, folks. You probably don't want to check that website, right?
Put on the brakes by pressing opposite the direction I'm running, or speed up by pressing in the same direction I'm running. Start plus select. Return to the startup screen. Button B. I'll pounce, and if I hit a Willy or one of their henchmen, they're history. The longer you hold it, the higher I jump, and the more I'll bounce when I pounce on the bad guys. Button Y. I'll swoop through the air and land light as a feather. I can pounce on enemies while I'm gliding. Try holding the B button down at the same time. I'll do a super pounce and soar into the air. Button A also makes me pounce, but can be reconfigured via the options screen. Button X also makes me glide, but can be reconfigured via the options screen. Button L, I'll look to my right, your left. Button R, I'll look to my left, your right. Wait a second, what? Hang on. What's this? Hint, try holding down button L or R when I'm travelling really fast.
Oh well, I wonder how many people that have snarked on this game on the internet are aware of that hint there, that handy hint. Anybody want to try let's playing this and pressing the L or R while travelling really fast? Because I'm not going to bother putting this. I'm not putting this waste space in my Super Nintendo and checking myself. I mean, you know what, Bubsy seems to be. What Mr. X is going to do his traditional, boring old adult thing. Well, yeah. What would be a boring old adult thing to most people, but Mr. X has been doing this his whole life. I'm gonna give Bubsy here his devil's advocate defence. Bubsy seems to have hated. This character is quite heavily disliked. I think because, as I think the AVGN pointed out, he was just such a generic, obvious attempt to rip off. Out of all these obvious attempts to rip off Sonic the Hedgehog, Bubsy does sort of stick out from the early 90s as the most try-hard, I guess you'd say, of them all. He's just the one that was the most clearly of all just nothing but an attempt to make a likeable children's cartoon character and get stuff sold from on it. And it was the AVGN or his friend Matt, not Mike, that pointed out his exclamation mark T-shirt is just such a generic thing that it's emblematic of Bubsy himself. He doesn't really have any character or personality besides just a generic sense of, hey, look, there's an exclamation mark on him, that means he's crazy. He's a crazy character, and like, how is he crazy? We said he is, and like, that's it really. That's pretty much it. You're just supposed to believe that exclamation mark that it means something, but the truth is it means nothing. It's just, I'll tell you what though, but yeah, so Bubsy, people don't like him. I had his game. I mean, it's not the best thing in the world, it's got a lot of problems, but I didn't hate it. It's all not bad, really. It doesn't suffer from really much more problems than more than the majority of video games at the time did. Bubsy himself is certainly an attempt to make money, but I don't know, he's not any more offensive than most of these rip-off characters, really. Like, I don't have any ill will to Bubsy. With that said, I don't want to see him coming back or anything, but like, I don't share this hatred that people share for Bubsy. Like with everything, Mr. X does not share any hatred for anything, it seems. Bubsy 3D killed him off though. Oh well, you know what, people, you know what's been forgotten to time about Bubsy is, I mean, as much as Bubsy himself has been forgotten to everyone except a small collection of the internet, but what's been lost to time is that everyone knows about, well, Bubsy's first game, Claws Encounters, is known, and then Bubsy 3D, the one that destroyed him, is well known, and I just noticed the front of the instruction manual has an asterisk under Bubsy's name, despite there being no asterisk on the cover itself, you know, on the bottom of it to point to that. That's interesting. Well, No, it's not interesting, but I noticed it. Right. Bubsy. Yeah, Bubsy 3D and Bubsy 1 are famous. The cartoon they made, the pilot episode of a cartoon series which never got off the ground, is also fairly well known now. That is, which I based his voice on that. That's well known. But what seems to have been forgotten, or at least I wasn't aware, is that that was not all that Bubsy had to say for himself. He had a fair few games. He had a sequel to this Bubsy game. I feel like that one's obscure. Bubsy 2. And even more obscure than that, or maybe not so much now, because it's what the AVGN was talking about Bubsy with. He had another game on the bloomin' Atari Meet Jaguar, or whatever the pile of trash is. Fractured Furry Tales. There's a reason, well, that's the reason right there why that one's so ill-known. How appropriate that Bubsy shows up on the Jaguar, of all things. Out of all these Sonic rip-off characters, it seems Bubsy ended up on the most bad console of them all. But anyway, he had at least 4 games then, counting those, not even including the ports of existing games. So as much as Bubsy is disliked and people think, he was just a cheap Sonic rip-off, nobody bought into him. Well, you know what? Bubsy must have made some success for himself, because he wouldn't have had 4 different games and a cartoon pilot. They wouldn't have gone that far with this character if he'd just floundered from the start. So as much, it's like with Scrappy from Scooby-Doo, I think. As much as everybody wants to believe that they hate him, there was obviously been something forgotten to time here. People apparently liked him at some point. That's what I'm saying. I do remember the back of the box says something like, what is it? Bubsy. It's like having a Saturday morning cartoon character in your video game. Tell you what though, as much as I say I don't have a problem with Bubsy, I do have precisely one serious beef with Bubsy from his first game, and it's that, well, and you know, it's in all of these, it's in all the 2D Bubsy games, that face he makes when he's standing still, that face is the most obnoxious thing I've ever seen on a video game character. The face he pulls at the camera when he's standing still is just such a smarmy, arrogant thing. And yet the irony is that every single other sprite of his makes him look like a goofy moron. Basically, when he's running, he's trying to look like... When he runs, he's got a sort of determined look on his face, but it's not like Sonic, where he actually looks determined. Bubsy just looks like he's a sort of goofy, trying to be determined. Or maybe this is all in my mind, but all the sprites to Bubsy, when he's running, when he's gliding with his big, cheesy grin, everything he does, he just looks hopelessly, comedically ineffectual and just goofy. And he comes across that way because he's so blooming weak in these games that touching a blade of grass will kill him.
Go ahead,
The feeling I get from Bubsy most of the time in these games is that he's trying to think he's cool, but he's actually just completely hopeless at everything. And that when I think of Bubsy that way, he's actually a really good character. But the one thing that shows up my little silly theory for the liar is the face he makes when he's standing still. That one face is just the one thing that he doesn't deserve in these games. I'll tell you what though, the Bubsy pilot, people hate that. I'll say this, Arnold is the best thing that came out of that. And I'll tell you what though, that the Bubsy's nephew and niece or whatever they are, quite possibly are some of the worst cartoon characters ever invented. People hate Scrappy, no, Bubsy's sister, Bubsy's nephew and niece or whatever they are, they're the real Scrappies of the world. There's nothing worse than them.
Playing around. Your score. Yarn balls collected. Lives remaining. Time remaining. On the screen. Here's a rundown of all the stuff you see on the screen. Like the nifty numbers, flashing digits, and other stuff that quite frankly detracts from little old me. You probably figured all this out already, but it's in my contract. Have you heard about my contract? So, I have to tell you about it. Here it is. Check it out. Overall score. I give you points, big ones, for all the willies you eliminate. I get additional points for each enemy I buff in succession. Then I add in more points for special colored yarn balls. Yarn balls collected. You don't really need me to explain this one, do you? Time remaining. The timer keeps counting down, even when you're not playing with the controller. Unless you pause the game. Lives remaining. Guess how many lives I start with? Big surprise, 9! Mid-level markers. Congratulations! When I get to an exclamation point, I'm partway through a chapter. Don't forget to hit it. When I do, it changes to a spinning red yarn ball with my handsome face on one side. When I lose a life, I come back to the last mid-level marker I hit.
What it doesn't mention here about the mid-level markers, which SS Skinner, or SSS Skinner, or whatever it is, found out 8 years ago, is that in certain levels at least, if you don't kill one of the enemies that's standing beside the marker, and you hit the marker and die, then when it brings you back to life, it brings you back right on top of the enemy and it kills you. And so presumably you just go and proceed to lose all your lives by force until you get a game over. So there's Bubsy's fantastic programming in effect there. I'm assuming that SSS Skinner knew what she was talking about there, but I can't honestly claim to know. I don't intend to wheel out Bubsy and find out myself.
A word about water. You can lead a cat to water, but you can't make it sink. Okay, I know. They're wrong. You can make it sink. But don't do it. Don't get me in over my head. Please! Cats hate water. I hate water. You wouldn't want to immerse a sweet, lovable feline like me, would you? Don't answer that. Bonus points. Here's how you rack these up. You get 10 bonus points for every second left at the end of a chapter. You started with 10 minutes. If you had 1 minute left, you'll get 600 bonus points. Get it? Good. Collector's items. As you know by now, I collect yarn balls. Any kind, any size, any color! Here's the diffs. Wool Gasmatron. Keeps wool under extreme pressure in a high fiber plasma state. Random point value between 1000 and lucky number 7777.
Why would they program something like that? It's an item that gives you random points between 1000 and 7777. Why would they do that? What a strange thing. What a weird thing to put in a game.
Colored yarn balls. I give you points for all yarn balls, but some are more valuable to me than others. Here's what they're worth. The green yarn ball's 10 points. The yellow yarn ball's 20 points. The yellow yarn ball's 20 points. The red yarn ball's 30 points. The blue yarn ball's 40 points. Surprise yarn balls. These change color randomly. Points are determined by the color of the surprise yarn ball at the moment I touch it. See point values above. Yarn crates. A giant stash of yarn balls. Each one holds 25 and is worth 500 points. That's something I want to pass up.
The yarn balls are the weirdest thing in this game because they're all over the place. You know, one of Bubsy's biggest problems, I think the reason above all else that people despise the Bubsy games, especially, if not the character, not necessarily the character, but the reason why people hate the games, I think, is largely because of one simple thing, which the Bubsy creators apparently didn't stop to think of. I mean, aside from the fact that, first of all, they tried to make the game like a Sonic the Hedgehog game, but Bubsy runs fast, stuff happens fast, darts over the screen, the levels are big and maze-like, well, they're big and complex like Sonic. But there's one critical thing that Sonic got that Bubsy did not, and that was that in a fast-paced game like Sonic, where you're dashing all over the place, it's inevitable, no matter how well they'd made the game, you're going to be running into enemies and stuff that you just really couldn't have seen coming, unless you'd just been slowly edging along. So you're going to take a lot of cheap hits in that, which you do. You take cheap hits in Sonic all the time, everybody's getting hit in Sonic. But with Bubsy, if Bubsy hits anything, he's dead. There's no rings system. If Bubsy gets hit, he doesn't lose all of his yarn balls or something like that. No, the yarn balls do nothing, so I really wonder why they're in the game at all. I don't think getting points even gives you extra lives or continues or anything. The getting points does absolutely nothing. There's not even a high score table. So I don't know why they even bothered putting them in there. But Sonic, the main difference is Bubsy does not get hit. If Sonic gets hit, then the way the ring system, which is really quite an ingenious mechanic, I don't know if they were actually thinking about this when they put it in, but when Sonic gets hit in the old games, if he's got rings on him, he loses all the rings. But he can run around and quickly pick up the rings that fly out of him when he gets hit. And as long as he's got even one ring left, every single time he gets hit, there's a chance that you can grab that ring and before it goes away. So eventually, I think if you've collected it too much, if you've done this too much, the game gets smart and it makes the ring go away too fast. Or alternatively, you might be in a position where it's hard to get the ring or you can't get it at all. The point is, though, that you can keep on getting hit over and over again, but you've got a chance to recover. Which, considering how much you're likely to get hit in Sonic by being fast and that, it's a very clever way of overcoming the design flaw that running about really fast is going to get you into trouble. So that's a very good way of dealing with that. It's a way that Bubsy does not do anything with. In Bubsy, he's running fast, and if you're rocketing along with Bubsy, and then if a piano careens down a hill at you, you've got no chance to react, and the thing will hit you. Or you'll be the camera is so far zoomed in on the sprite, the screen is so small that if you jump up, there might be a woolly there that he hits and you couldn't have done anything about it. There's just so many hazards. You'll be taking blind leaps of faith all the time, and you're very likely to plunge directly into a pool of water or a spike pit or something like that, and you had no way to know it was there. All of that is stuff that can happen in Sonic as well, but in Sonic, you'll have a ring on you, and you'll survive it, and you can get the ring and keep surviving. So that is Bubsy's biggest flaw. If Bubsy had made the yarn balls work like rings, I suspect these games would have been far more tolerable, but they just didn't do that. So that was Bubsy's greatest mistake, I think. That is... With that said, I think I didn't hate his game. It's certainly difficult and cheap, though. So I can certainly appreciate why people hate this game. We had more patience for this sort of thing back then, though.
The t-shirt craze and other power-ups. Okay, you've played these games before, so of course you know what a power-up is. If you don't, go ask your kid brother. These power-ups even come with a free t-shirt. Or is it the other way around? Here's what gets me one. Numbered t-shirts. More Bubsy. See the big number on these shirts? That's how many more lives I'll get. If I can get the shirt. Black t-shirts. Shadow Bubsy. I look great in black, and when I wear one of these black t-shirts, the willies can't even see me. Flashing t-shirt. Super Bubsy. This one flashes, and as long as it does, I'm totally invincible to willies and their headspin. Of course, weather, spikes, and other natural disasters can have a deadly effect on me.
So the invincibility t-shirt doesn't even protect them from spikes. Good grief, Bubsy really is out to get you. Because spikes are one of the biggest problems in... I don't know, I remember again SS Skinner dying about 50 times in a row to some spikes in one of the desert levels. Why am I talking about SS Skinner so much? It's because I just so happened to be watching her Let's Play of this, preparing for the Bubsy manual readout.
Continues. I need these, as many as I can pick up, cause if I snag a continue and lose a life, I'll start on the same level where I lost that life. Free rides. Yeah, sure. I've taken a lot of free rides in my time. Why not? If I don't take them, someone else will. Here are some of my favorites. Bouncy branches. I jump, button B, on one of these photosynthesis factories to really take off. Water slides. I can control where I'm going here by pressing the control pad left or right. Slow me down by pressing the control pad opposite the direction I'm headed. Press button B to jump. Cars! Jump on one of these for a high-flying time! But avoid the red-hot convertibles and don't take rides with strangers. Oh, brother, I forgot about that. That's right. I remember now. In the first level and a few other ones, I think, there's these cars, enemies, that you can jump on. But if you jump on the red ones, you know what it does? Bubsy gets in the car and it rides off with him and he dies. Dear me. Don't take rides with strangers, yeah. Man, I forgot about that. I think it might even... I think the hood of the what do you call it? I think that a little roof might fold up on top of Bubsy when he jumps in it and it just carts him off exactly like a stranger. Good grief, that is quite creepy, really. Oh, brother, what does that car do to him? Well, let's not think about that. Probably best not to wonder about what happens to Bubsy when he leaves the screen. Roller coasters.
That picture of him in a roller coaster really reminds me of Ephraim Jim for some reason.
Roller coasters. To jump off a roller coaster, press the pounce or glide buttons. Push up to raise my hands and collect goodies. Push down to cover my eyes. Rocket cars. A great way to pick up some easy yarn balls. Push up to raise my hands and collect goodies. Push down to duck and cover my eyes. Log rafts. Jump on to head downstream. And look out for snorkel turtles. Warp caves. I know, You're going, huh? Like a cave is a free ride? Well, okay, not all caves give you free rides, but some hyperwarp you to other places in your world. And some even lead to the Willie's secret yard stashes. Manhole covers. Most manhole covers go down, but these also let me go up, if I stand on them just right. TNT crate. This one is dynamite. I can pounce off the top or power bounce off the side. Either way, press the pounce button for extra height. Strongmen. I'd jump here if I were you. For extra height, hold down the pounce button when I hit it. Alien invaders and other bad guys. Willies, 500 points. Jump on these irritating yarn snatchers from the planet Rayon. But don't hesitate when you get up close. Pianos, 800 points. Bang those ivories. Grumbleweeds, 600 points.
Did they get imported from Shadow of the Beast?
There's nothing more irritating than a plant that moves. Giraffes on train. Jump on their heads and see what happens. Beavers, 500 points. Chomp these chumps. Light bulb bugs, 300 points. Turn these guys off. Tree frogs, 200 points. Hip hop on them. Snorkel turtles, 200 points. They'll give teenage ninjas a run for their money.
I'm surprised they actually got to mention that there. It's even got Teenage Ninjas capitalised. Did nobody notice? Maybe, hey, whoever owns Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, why don't you sue Bubsy retroactively? Because I somehow doubt that they would have got away with that.
Snapagators, 300 points. Will chomp my raft away. Sand sharks, 800 points. Bury 'em alive. What to avoid? Gumball machines, firecrackers, horny toads, cactus, tack crates, loose tacks, and any other pointy things. Don't try to attack them or you'll gallop the works. Nintendo Hotline! Do you have a question about gameplay? Are you being stomped by a thwomp in Mario 3? Or did gargoyles gang up on your Game Boy? If your answer to these questions is yes, then why not call the Nintendo Hotline? We are open 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday and Sunday.
What oddly specific times? What strange times?
Why not telephone now? And one of our expert counselors will be more than happy to answer your call.
You know, I somehow doubt these guys were particularly happy to answer your call. I do wonder now as an adult, reflecting on this, these people that got paid, I called these numbers a couple of times when I was a child. I got my dad to do it, I was too afraid to do it myself. I do wonder about these guys, that these people on these Nintendo hotline, they just were sitting at a desk somewhere at the 1990s call centre, whatever they looked like back then, just waiting for some children to phone in and scream at them about some problem they're having with the game. How did they work? That's what I'd like to know. How did the Nintendo hotline work? Did these poor souls that had to sit there and answer people's game questions, did they have a book or something that just... How did it work? Was there an enormous manual Nintendo gave them with every sort of how to do everything in every single Nintendo game ever made? Or was it just people that were just knew so much about games that they could answer any question that anybody asked them something? I mean, when you really think about this, the Nintendo Hotline was supposed to answer any question that anybody had on any game. I mean, that's a lot of possible questions right there, especially if you got Mr. X talking to you. If you know anything about Mr. X, you could imagine how much of a fun experience it's going to be trying to answer his questions. I mean, these poor souls that worked for this Nintendo Hotline. Was it minimum wage? Was it college students or something? Was it high school pupils? Was it just people that, well, I say but was it people that just didn't want to be there? I just imagined it being not the most pleasant job in the world. Anyway.
Why not telephone now? The number to call is 0703 652222.
You know, I probably shouldn't put the number for this in there, but if you own the instruction manual, you could phone it.
90-day limited warranty. Super Nintendo Entertainment System game packs. Nintendo UK Entertainment Limited, Nintendo, warrants to the original consumer purchaser that the Super Nintendo Entertainment System game pack shall be free from defects in material and workmanship for a period of 90 days from the date of purchase. If a defect covered by this warranty occurs during this 90-day limited warranty period, Nintendo will repair or replace the defect pack, at its option, free of charge.
At its option? What does that mean? Does that just mean Nintendo can decide not to do it? at its option. What on earth? What does that mean in legalese? Can some lawyer tell me?
0793. To receive this warranty service, return the pack, postage prepaid, insured, and with proof of the date of purchase to...
Wait, so you've got to pay the postage yourself then? So it's not free, is it? You have to pay to send this to Nintendo.
Nintendo UK Entertainment Limited, Nintendo Service Centre, Parham Drive, Boyat Wood, Eastleigh, Hants, S05 4NU England, tel, brackets 0329, 243 300.
So it's not free. Nintendo themselves won't charge money themselves, but it's not going to be free of charge for you. This is one of the problems of society that Mr. X doesn't like. That the way this sentence is phrased here, because now let's get into this, because this is getting into like a cornerstone way that society works. What this sentence here says is that if something's wrong with your game, you can send it to Nintendo and it will get repaired free of charge. Now, what that means is that Nintendo themselves will not personally charge you money for this service. What it does not mean is that doing this will be free of charge for you, because it will not be free of charge. You will pay money in the process of getting this game fixed. You'll be paying specifically for the postage and the insurance, whatever that is, which I think means, I think that's actually somewhat pricey, if that's what I think it is. You pay for the game so that if the post gets lost or something, then you're guaranteed for it to be, they'll pay you back the amount it cost or something like that. I don't know. That costs money to do that. So you pay, but Nintendo themselves imply that it's not like that. This is the way the world works. Like these adverts, giant banner adverts that have been up all my lifetime, and they're not going anywhere. They must have been around for centuries, well, the century or something like that. You know, you know what I'm talking about when it's, well, you don't because I've not said it. There's giant banners that say 50% off on scissors, but then massive 50% off, but then in tiny writing above the 50 it says up to 50%. The world is just full of conventions like that, where it's just considered acceptable to effectively deceive human beings into thinking that things are a certain way when they're not. Why is this permitted? Why is this acceptable stuff? It's not right, is it? I mean, that's not a question. It's not right. Mr. X just refuses to believe it's right. I don't know what cynical worldviews that the people that run the world hold, that they rationalise to themselves that this stuff is acceptable. Which I'm sure they do. I've no doubt that the intelligent people that run the world, that the very clever people that make these adverts and that, which I've said before, these people are a bunch of smart Alex. They've got degrees, they know what they're doing. I'm sure they've got complex moral philosophies to justify what they do. We've got to do this in order for the economy to stay afloat. People must be made to think that if they purchase this thing, it will be more expensive than it is. It will be less expensive than it will be, because by doing that, then humans in general will purchase products and taxes will flow, and services will be provided to people that want them and need them, and so on. If you don't do this, then the world will blow up. I suspect something not terribly far removed from that is probably the line of thinking that goes into stuff like that. And it disturbs me greatly, because I disagree with it completely. But, well, there we go. Who would have thought the Bubsy instruction manual would bring out such a thing in me? But it just did. Yep.
Packs returned without proof of the date of purchase or after the 90-day limited warranty period will, at the option of Nintendo, be repaired at the service charge then in effect for out-of-warranty repair. Call brackets 0329 243300 for the amount of this charge. Repair done after acceptance of the quotation. Payments must be made by check or money order payable to Nintendo UK Entertainment Limited. This warranty shall not apply if the pack has been damaged by negligence, accident, abuse, or modification subsequent to purchase. This warranty does not interfere with your statutory rights. For all information on this game pack or other Super NES game packs, call the Nintendo quotations hotline at brackets 0703 652222.
I still don't know what statutory rights are, or what it means when it says these things.
Nintendo UK Entertainment Limited, Unit E1, Fareham Heights, Standard Way, Fareham, Hants, PO16, 8XT, England. Printed in Japan.
I've also noticed in the game, just looking at the closed instruction book here, that in the corners on the cover, on the top left corner of the front cover and the top right corner of the back cover, it's got this little green triangle at the top. What is that for? I think that appears in a lot of these old game manuals. What's the meaning of that? Yeah, Mr. Nuts has it as well. I've got that out here still. Also a green triangle. What function does that serve?
What could possibly go wrong?
Bubsy!
What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong?
Bubsy!
What could possibly go wrong?
Bubsy!
What could possibly go wrong?
Bubsy! 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 Bubsy!
I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
Bobby's my name. I am a Bobcat and I once had fame before my career went first. But what, I'm lame? You've got no right to say that. My contract makes it clear I shouldn't have to hear the player's ear. Even if they're germane beer, I'm no mere pretender to the cat throne. Throw me a bone, everyone loves me, you can clearly see. At least they did until my series went 3D. I'm not from a lab, I ain't no cash grab. My generic exclamation mark t-shirt's just fab. My games are not cheap, from what's so new reap. The difficulty curve is perhaps a tad steep. But what could possibly go wrong with 9 lives? What's that you say? You already lost all of them to the blind dives! Look kid, you just don't know how to play the game. Frame by frame, that's how the testers manage to level 1 tame. What's that? I'm a Sonic ripoff, stripped of the good game design and stuffed with cloth. Hey, what you're saying's as woolly as yarn, and now I must cough. Right now then, my contract says I get a second verse, which I've taken time to rehearse in a hearse. I got carted off when I went 3D, but you see, while that game is viewed as legendary, in its unrelenting deadness, that's all hype. It's brilliant, seriously, cause it stars me. Just ask that dragon who did a let's play, in which he made sure every rocket was collected. Granted, he's insane, it says in his name, but my point still stands. Bubsy 3D is a great game, although my actor was clearly female, and 10 platforming controls and clears out the rails. I'm not so bad, give me a chance then you'll see just what could possibly go wrong. Besides graphics, the 3D pong. Who remembers all of my other games then? Anyone? Fractured Furry Tales and the sequel that came before Bubsy 3D. They're timeless classics, you know, just because the players don't know where to go. In the massive labyrinthine levels doesn't mean that they belong.
Oh.